Hello singers, welcome back to the weekly warm-up. I'm Laura. Here on the channel, I love to share clear, fun voice education to help you improve your singing and enjoy it more. Today, we're just gonna do a very simple exercise, but it's gonna help you activate the palate without tightening the tongue and the jaw. That top and bottom surface of the mouth really like to go together. And so oftentimes when we try to activate and lift the palate, the tongue and the jaw also come along for the ride and become very tight. And when we try to release the tongue and the jaw, the palate becomes very saggy. So today we're going to try to help you find a taut upper surface of the mouth and a nice soft, loose lower surface of the mouth in one simple exercise. Let's get started. Singers, before I show you this exercise, I want to share something very exciting from my singing life, which is my first solo album. I just got this copy. The album is releasing on March 20th, so coming right up in a few weeks. The whole album will be available on all streaming platforms at that time, but as of now, there are singles available on the press page, and you can pre-order either the CD or if you have a player, a vinyl LP. So I would really appreciate your support. I would love to share this music with you. This is an album that I recorded with my friend Tanya Bleich, a beautiful pianist. She and I have been recital partners and good friends for 25 years, and this has just been such a joy to create. It's art songs by Charles Ives, Reynaldo Hahn, and William Bolcom with poetry that we just think is incredible. So I would love to share that with you. And in the meanwhile, on with the exercise. I promised you an activated, lifted palate and a loose, soft jaw and tongue area. So start out, place the tongue lightly against the back of the bottom teeth so that it can be in that relaxed, resting position, and let the jaw drop down. We don't want to have any holding here in the jaw, and we also want to make sure that the jaw is opening in that down and back swinging position. Not as it opens. So the tongue is resting lightly against the back of the bottom teeth and the jaw is lightly opening down. Not, but nice and soft. And from there, we're going to make most of the action of this exercise with the upper lip. Both lips will be active, but particularly I want you to activate the upper lip and say, whoa, 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 whoa. You can see that I'm not chewing the jaw, wah, 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 but really creating most of that action from the upper lip. And that upper lip, with its activity, is going to draw the palate upward and forward. You can sort of imagine that if I move the lip, it's going to draw the palate forward. There's really not that much soft tissue on your head, so any action in the upper lip helps to stimulate the palate. That sound, wah, the W is active in the lips, and then the is what is known as a schwa. It's just a nice neutral sound. Do see what's happening in your palate as you move from the W to the Can you feel a lot of flapping? If you are, see if you can stay in that activated W position as you go, wah, 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 not wah, wah. The pitches of the exercise will be whoa, 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 whoa. Nice and simple on do, mi, sol, mi, do. And what I'm doing here is I'm just using the lips, particularly the upper lip. I'm not chewing the jaw. And we're gonna go pretty rapidly up by half steps. So let's start here. I'll demonstrate once. Whoa, 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 whoa. Join me. Whoa, 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 whoa. And here. Whoa, 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 whoa. And here. Whoa, 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 whoa. And here. Whoa, 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 whoa. And here. Whoa, 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 whoa. And here. Whoa, 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 whoa. So that was quite a chain. I hope that you were able to find some activation and a sense that the lower part of the mouth was able to stay released and let the lips do the work as you climbed in pitch. Now, it's possible that you have already gone through or are about to move into the passaggio, which is the sort of transition zone between the registers of the voice. This is where it starts to really make a huge difference to have that lip activation, the palate nice and lifted, and to not let the palate flap down as you sing. So when we go from woo to I'm moving my lips, but the palate is staying up in the same position where it is on the W. If I let it flop down, as I move into the transition part of the voice, I may experience something like this. Wah, 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 wah. You hear that extremely squeezy kind of nasal sound. If you make this sound, like a kind of, I don't know, whiny sound, what you'll feel is that everything behind your nose, kind of here, is really tightly pinched together. When you go, whoa, 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 it's open and apart. So make sure that as you come out of the W, you're keeping the area behind the lips all the way back in the mouth and back behind the nose open. You can go a little slower if you need to. Let's go up a little higher here so most folks can kind of transition through there. So we'll go a little slower, and we're gonna keep that focus on that sense of activation, release, and activity in the lips, particularly the upper lip, but not a lot of flapping up and down behind the nose. Here we go, and go. Whoa, 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 whoa. And here. Whoa, 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 whoa. And here. Whoa, 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 whoa. And here. Whoa, 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 whoa. Keep it open. Whoa, 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 whoa. One more. Whoa, 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 whoa. If you are struggling with that wah, 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 wah feeling or sound, it might help to imagine, this is a terrible image, but it might help. Imagine putting chopsticks up your nostrils and moving them apart. You could also think about having like a little bite of wasabi, how that opens the back of the nose. Let's try just a couple more. We'll go back to here and see if you can open that up. Here we go, and breathe. Whoa, 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 whoa. And here. Whoa, 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 whoa. Open behind the nose. Here. Whoa, 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 whoa. Great. If you watched the video about bright singing, which I'll put up in the cards, that video also is very related to this idea. This is that idea of like a nice high forward resonance that does not come from pushing up from underneath, but rather release here and a lift from above. So that's the exercise. This, I think, is a great exercise for getting to know your own voice better. It tends to make it pretty easy for people to feel the various parts of their vocal mechanism, to feel when you're chewing instead of allowing the action to come from the lips, to hear when you're flapping the palate up and down and letting that sound become very piercing and in the nose. So I hope this is one that really helps you to not only make good sounds, but also understand where those good sounds are coming from and how you can replicate them in your singing. If this video helped you, I hope you'll give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel so that we can sing together next week and every week. I hope that you'll also check out my album. I'm just so excited to share it with you. In the meanwhile, thanks so much for singing with me today, and thank you for practicing.